There is a profound art in the creation of media intent on causing a reaction. The obvious examples being comedies trying to make you laugh and smile, and horror movies making you uneasy and jump scare you. But what if horror was presented in a different way? What if instead of making you scared and frightful for what is around every corner? What if you weren't just spooked for a moment, but instead stabbed in the heart with a knife created by what you are engaging with? What if the true horror was facing your own emotions when presented with real sadness? Not everyone can be pushed to the point of crying at movies, of course, or at least they require specific thematic relevance and input that they can relate to that finally flips the switch, but I'm sure even then, it'd be hard for them to sit through the Green Mile or the Pursuit of Happiness, for example. This is relevant because today I'm excited and intrigued to talk about The Long Walk, the new Stephen King movie adaptation, based on the first of his written novels to be published. Set in a dystopian future where poverty ruins so many lives, and the world has truly gone to shit, a nationwide contest is held, The Long Walk. Each state would choose one young adult boy who would represent their state and walk, specifically at the pace of 3 miles per hour. Fall below that and you get a warning. Don't pick it up within 10 seconds, another warning. You get 3 warnings, and then if you slip up, you're out. The main 2 boys we follow are Raymond Garrity, played by Cooper Hoffman, and Peter McVrise, played by David Johnson. Mark Hamill also plays the Major running the show, and Judy Greer plays Ray's mother. You might expect a movie like this to be a grim Hunger Games-esque take, where the participants are ready and raring to go, fully intent on partaking in the zero-sum game and kill the competition to win. But that's where you'd be wrong. The movie doesn't do the kindness of giving characters selfish enough motivations to give you any sort of disdain towards them. In fact, there's barely any characters in this movie I'd call wholly dislikable, with the exceptions being the Major running the walk and the guards. Even some of the less welcoming walkers have their positives to them, but the characters really do make this movie. Not just Ray and Pete, but the side characters. Olsen, Art, Barkovich, Stebbins, Parker, these are all very different characters. Ray is someone who isn't sure of himself. He doesn't understand his place in life, but loves his parents and wants to do good by them. Pete is the most kind-hearted man out there. He chooses love and understands that he wants to make the world a better place, no matter how much he has to risk to do it. He is truly the most noble and wonderful person, and the perfect friend that I'm sure anyone that watches this movie would want. Hey, that sounds kind of familiar. This is paired, of course, with an outstanding performance from David Johnson, who I was very excited to see more of after Alien Romulus, because he was fantastic in that, and I'm sure he has a whole career lined up right now. Pete is an incredible character who I'm sure everyone who sees the movie absolutely loves. He has the perfect mix between playful competitiveness and the willingness to bond with anyone who is also willing. He and Ray were an amazing duo, and I loved every scene with them learning from each other and becoming closer and closer. Their chemistry is honestly some of the best I've seen in a movie this year. Whether you read their relationship as found brothers for life or a connection with undertones of homoeroticism, they are the core of this movie, and I'm so glad to see Cooper and David being well received. I do agree that we need them and their natural chemistry in more movies together in the future. Mark Hamill is playing this shit-eating drill sergeant who eggs the boys on at all times in ways that seem both encouraging and antagonizing. He's the perfect representation of nationalism, patriotism, and apathy molded into a powerful position that means he is untouchable. It's a perfect villain for a dystopia. But even in the face of adversity, the bond between all of the walkers is something that is so refreshingly real. Seeing the connections, the banter, laughing and joking together, living in the moment and recognizing each other as allies, even if they're on this path, pit against each other, different personalities connecting to people they never would have met if it weren't for this opportunity. The joy and hope of brotherhood, the will to enjoy every minute no matter if it's the last, the stubbornness and the refusal to give up on the people you've lived and walked with. It's just beautiful. It's the core of the movie to see these friendships form on the walk, and I love how many genuine laughs the movie got out of the audience. Judy Greer is going to be another emotional core to a lot of people. You see, Ray is a hometown boy. He's representing the stage that the walk is taking place in, so if he makes it in the race far enough, he's gonna hit his hometown eventually. And I know so many parents that are going to be absolutely destroyed by the scenes of the two together, whether it be the opening or the flashbacks. Honestly, I'd love to shout out every single performance in the movie that stuck with me, but we'd be here for hours. Shout out to Ben Wang for being the funniest character in the movie while also having genuinely great philosophical insights and a character that we learn is much more multidimensional than he appears. Tut Nuot. I need to Google how to pronounce this. Tut Nayuet, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, is also up there as one of the most charming and enjoyable parts of the movie. He's the one with a very, very specific scene that really pushed me to tears, honestly. Because in this beauty lies true terror. As becoming connected to these characters is not just to see them succeed, but it's to hit you with the real devastation when they fail. Only one walker can win, the rest will fall short. And in doing so, we get some of the most heartbreaking and tear-jerking scenes I've seen all year. The agony in failure and the desperation in trying to save your friends from falling behind and having to keep walking without them. The fear of going into the unknown and the very real performances from every single actor in this movie. It's emotionally destructive, I swear. But in these scenes, we also have amazing examples of tension building. I am not exaggerating when I say I was on the edge of my seat for the entire movie. I was worried for everyone and what was about to happen to them. There's so many great uses of long, drawn-out build-up that sets up people's fate and what they eventually have to do. And even then, that kind of slow and intended storytelling doesn't mean we can't still get a horrifically devastating scene that can only be described as pure chaos. Perfect for what is a representation of a literal uphill battle. The movie also goes out of its way to show the many awful hardships of the walk. Sure, there's the tiredness and exhaustion factor, but medical conditions, allergies, how they deal with nature calling, the weather conditions, the mental toll it takes on you, the great pain it can cause, and the damage walking can really do to both the mind and the body. The things we tell ourselves to keep going, but we know aren't really true. This makes most of the situations presented in the movie quite unique. There's very much a lack of repetitiveness in what eventually causes the walkers to stop. And these all speak to their personalities too. We have the people that weren't able to handle the pressure, the ones who were overconfident in their abilities, the ones just along for the ride, hoping to make some friends along the way. And the ones who learn that the destination isn't the thing that's really important, it's the journey. There's real variety in how each person handles their last few moments in the walk, and it speaks so much to their character and what they've learned from the world and the walk. No matter how little screen time each character gets, they all leave such a lasting impact on the audience. And that's just the characters. Even outside of that, the cinematography is also amazing. There's so many wide shots that include so much detail with what is going on in the movie, and the walk overall. Oftentimes the background might hold people struggling to keep up, even when they're not the focus of the scene. The camera work being this way always leaves open the potential for something grueling to happen in the background, or immediately after a heartwarming interaction between our characters. I also massively respect the fact that they got to the title card of the movie like 15 minutes in after an incredibly devastating scene. It's really, really well done. And that's surprising because usually movies waiting that long to drop the title, it can be a little cringe, or because of the unexpected nature, can sometimes ruin the tone of a scene. My eyes were darting around every single wide shot trying to check to see who was still walking and how they were managing. It's really tense without even having to do much, and it's all because of how much they show you at each point. My favorite part though has to be the later parts of the movie where it starts to rain. The natural lighting and balance between it and the darkness work perfectly and are very reminiscent of the way the Batman lit its scenes. Not only were the emotional parts at this point perfect, but they were even elevated by how fucking good this movie looks. On the more technical side of things, I have to compliment the set design. Every single area visited in this movie is brimming with the idea of a dead or dying world. It's a real dystopian wasteland even when nature is explicitly shown. But the further along the walk they go, the more people we see, and yet there's no point where anything seems to be better. Isolated farmhouses, rural country towns, even the big city. There's nowhere safe from the miserable poverty the world was thrust into. And this, paired with the score, really works to make gorgeous looking shots of the little light there is in the world being highlighted, or to just build the world even more and hone in on the many ugly, disturbing parts that are sadly true to reality. I think the themes of this movie are so important to the world right now. We're seeing so much death, hatred, and destruction, whether it be mass shootings in America, war and chaos sieging Palestine and Ukraine, or the political turmoil all over the world, which especially is not helping the continued cost of living crisis. Unemployment and poverty rates inflating, and just mental health being forever declining. It's disgusting how true to reality a lot of this movie is. Whether it be the horrors of what young people and even children have to witness, the desperation and lack of self-respect for the candidates walking, and how they'll push and destroy their bodies in order for a chance at living a normal life with enough money to survive. I also believe that the walk can be seen as a metaphor for signing up to the military, and therefore also a commentary on the lack of personality and care that is put into the industry and how they treat their soldiers and how their lives are just there to be thrown away, basically. The family's torn apart ad nauseum for numerous reasons, none of which have any sort of greater purpose. I've seen this described as a feel-bad movie, and in some ways it definitely is. Obviously, The Long Walk originated as a novel written by old Stevie King, and they made a couple of changes when adapting this that, in my opinion, makes it more interesting. Even if I love the book, I'm still very happy with the final product of this movie and how much it captures the essence of the novel, but still changing enough to fit the narrative and themes it's trying to focus on, and removing some of the very Stephen King elements. For example, originally, the walkers had to go at 4 miles per hour, and when King was asked about the movie adaptation, his one request was that they change this to 3 miles per hour, because 4 is fucking impossible to keep up at that pace for so long. This, of course, allows for better filming of the walkers too, because they aren't frantically shambling at all times, and was definitely a better change even if it seems small. There was also originally 100 walkers, which was cut to 50 in the movie, most likely for production reasons since the budget for this movie is $20 million, and I'm sure Mark Hamill and Judy Greer aren't exactly cheap. But also, since movies are a visual medium, it might be overwhelming to see 100 people on screen at the same time compared to the 50. The smaller count also works for us to connect with each of the focus-on characters more. The larger amount might have been cool to up the body count and maybe make more scenes of horrific carnage, but I'm satisfied with how they handled the cast and the amount of walkers in general. Some of the characters were also changed for this movie. Like in the books, there was a redneck guy I forgot the name of who had a wife, but because I love these characters so much, I'm not gonna mourn any of the ones cut from the book to the movie. Character motivations are also slightly different, like in the book, Ray has a girlfriend who he met in high school, and one of his motivations is getting back to her. He then cheats on her, risking a warning with like a random girl on the side of the road, and Steven, I don't think we needed this, so I'm very glad that wasn't in the movie adaptation. And Pete, for example, was originally a very sardonic and almost miserable character. It may be sacrilegious to say, but I like this version of the character so much more, especially considering the background he comes from and the heart that he truly represents. I don't want to talk too much about the ending of the movie, since this is something everyone should see as spoiler-free as possible. Hell, I've probably trimmed a lot from the trailers because even they show too much in my opinion. But the ending is different from the one in the book. Even fans of that have something to be surprised about. I think both endings work very well, and even though I've seen the movies being quite divisive, I think it hits a similar but different note compared to the books. And it was definitely one that surprised me, even though I had in the back of my mind part of what had to happen. I think they do an excellent job of setting up multiple ways for the end of the movie to go, and leaving it open for potential outcomes. There was never a point where I thought anything was predictable in a bad sense, since there is very prominent foreshadowing to a lot of later parts of the movie. Honestly, I'm starting to notice a trend where the more I like a movie, the worse I am at talking about it, but this is probably my favorite Stephen King movie adaptation, right above 2017's It. And one of my favorite movies of the year. I really struggled placing it on my list of movies I've seen, but I gotta be honest, I don't see anything topping Sinners or even The Green Mile. There were a lot of times in this movie where I was reminded of The Green Mile, to be honest. John Coffey would absolutely hate living in the world presented here, although I'd pay to see how his interaction with the Major would go. Nonetheless though, The Long Walk is one of the best movies I've seen all year. I spent a lot of time combing over every part of the movie and my thoughts on each aspect. It left me with a lot of complicated emotions: pride, happiness, excitement, rage, anguish, and pure despair, all tuned to hit me in different ways, and successfully making me an emotional wreck for quite a while. The title of this review is not a lie. I have never seen a movie that I have firmly thought I never want to rewatch this. Whether it be due to the quality of the movie, since I love bad movies, or the experience of twists for the first time, or even the emotions it made me feel. But the absolute soul-crushing nature of the events that unfold, I don't know if I can go through it again, gang. And with that, I want to wrap things up here. I couldn't find any problem I had with this movie. Even days after, I have so much respect for everyone involved, and all decisions made. The performances are stellar, the emotional beats hit like a truck, the score, camera work, set design are all on point, and everyone put their heart and soul into this project, and you can absolutely feel it. I'm giving The Long Walk a wholehearted 10 out of 10, and I am proud to say that. It's not often that miserable dystopian stories hit this hard, but it's clear that the filmmakers understood the point of The Long Walk. Mark Hamill himself was hesitant to sign up because of the incredibly dark nature, but after reading the book, he too understood why it was necessary and what it was trying to say. Because ultimately, the main thing that sets The Long Walk apart from other dystopian stories of desperately trying to escape poverty while being surrounded by horrific circumstances is that they're all ready to face what's to come together. Sure, there's some bad apples and some prickly figures, but The Long Walk itself is a metaphor for life. No matter how long or how short, you'll meet people, form bonds due to just having the same objective. Just going forward with emotions and trying to make it however you can. You'll see people struggle and you can help them, or let them help themselves. And in turn, they may help you or leave you to pick yourself back up. There will be long stretches of nothing happening, and uphill battles that cause people to crack under the pressure. You will lose people, some earlier than they deserved, some so close to the finish line, some leaving you with a smile and a wave, others in an act of defiance to make their mark on the world. The walk is long, but even through everything, it's not so bad. Not when you're not walking it alone. So do me a favor, and walk with me just a little longer. Okay, I'm not going to do a direct segue into the YouTuber plug because I really like that ending note. If you enjoyed this video, I would very much appreciate it if you hit the like button, because the algorithm is mean to smaller content creators and every little helps. And if you'd like to see more, also hit subscribe. I'm uploading 2 movie reviews a week now, on Monday and Thursday, among my other projects that include reviews of new seasons of shows, and the big one that I've been working on for way too long. Either way, thank you so much for watching and supporting me. Keep walking on, okay? You can make it.